Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video we will be looking at self-report techniques for questionnaires, which you need to know for AQA A-Level Psychology in the subtopic of research methods. I hope you enjoy this video and find it helpful. Let's get started. Self-report techniques are non-experimental research method where a researcher asks a participant to give or provide information and details about their opinions, thoughts, feelings, experiences, beliefs and behaviors usually in relation to a particular topic, responding to questions on a questionnaire, during interview, or self-reporting and recording in a diary or journal. Under the AQA A-Level Psychology specification, you need to know about two types of self-report tech keys. These include questionnaires and interviews. Questionnaires assess a person's thoughts or experiences through a number of different written questions. Consists of a series of structured and standardized questions designed to gather information from respondents. Collects quantitative and qualitative data on subjects' opinions, behaviors, or characteristics. Constructing a questionnaire. Clarity: questions should be simple, to the point, and easy to understand, in a way that it is clear for the respondent on what answer is needed from them. The language of a questionnaire should be appropriate to the vocabulary of the group of people being studied. Statements used should be interpreted in the same way by members of different subpopulations of the population of interest. For example, the researcher must change the language of questions to match the social background of the respondent's age, educational level, social class, ethnicity. Length: the longer the questionnaire, the less likely people will complete it. Questions should be short, clear, and concise. Any unnecessary questions items should be omitted. Terminology: researchers should avoid an overuse of jargon, emotive language, double-barreled questions, double negatives, leading questions or questions that are ambiguous or complex. This can lead to biases in the way participants respond, and therefore questions that are problematic should be removed. Sequencing questions: questions should progress logically from the least sensitive to the most sensitive, from the factual and behavioral to the cognitive, and from the more general to the more specific. This allows a build-up of confidence in each participant. Filler questions: these are questions which have nothing to do with the aims of the investigation and are put in to distract the participant from guessing the real aim of the study. Therefore, these eliminate demand characteristics. Pilot study: run a small-scale practice study to ensure people understand the questions and the questionnaire is suitable, and if not, amendments and improvements can be made based off details and honest feedback that people give. Presentation: researchers should make the work look professional and include clear and concise instructions. If sent through the post, ensure the envelope does not signify junk mail. Ethical issues: researchers must ensure that the information provided by the participants is kept confidential, e.g. name, address. This reduces the likelihood of psychological harm, such as embarrassment or anxiety, and increases the likelihood that participants will answer honestly, as they cannot be identified, which is good for researching sensitive topics. Researchers must also ensure that participants provide informed consent before completing the questionnaire and that participants are aware that they have the right to withdraw their information at any time during the survey study. Questionnaire design: avoid judgmental dependencies between questions, separate potential reactive questions, randomize questions, follow good survey design principles, consider respondent characteristics, and intentionally examine question context and order. Lie scale: a tool used in psychological assessments to evaluate the truthfulness of respondents. It consists of statements that help identify whether someone is being honest or trying to present themselves in a more favorable light. It helps to filter out those who might exaggerate their positive traits or minimize negative behaviors. Lie scales often include statements that most people would agree with. If someone answers in a way that suggests they are too perfect, it might indicate they are not being truthful. Open-ended questions. Do not have a fixed or preset of answers or responses. Allow participants to provide expansive and varied responses and answers in their own words without preset options or limitations. Used for complex questions that cannot be answered in a few simple categories but require more detail and discussion. Collects descriptive and thematic data. Strengths of open-ended questions. Allows for the collection of rich, in-depth, and detailed data. Open questions encourage respondents to provide detailed and nuanced answers. This can lead to richer information, as respondents can express their thoughts and feelings more freely and provide good insight, as respondents can give reasonings for their behavior. Encourages critical thinking. Open questions require respondents to think critically and reflect on their experiences or opinions, leading to more thoughtful and meaningful responses. Flexibility. Open questions allow for a wide range of answers and data, which can uncover unexpected information or perspectives that closed questions might miss. This flexibility can lead to new ideas and insights. Exploration of complex issues. Open questions are particularly useful for exploring complex or sensitive topics where a simple yes/no answer would be insufficient. They allow for a deeper understanding of multifaceted issues. Could lead to ideas for further investigation. Open questions allow researchers to pursue a line of inquiry from a response that they may not have predicted but is of interest to their investigation. Limitations of open-ended questions. Time-consuming to collect and analyze. Open questions take the respondents longer to answer and complete, as the questions require an extended answer, and take the researchers longer to analyze as they have to read the answers and try to put them into categories by coding, which is often subjective and difficult. Subjective. Open questions can be interpreted in different ways by each different participant, and the interpretation of these questions can vary based on an individual's experiences, beliefs, and perspectives. Difficult to analyze. Open questions are hard to convert into statistical data, as the meaning behind the worded answers can be interpreted in multiple different ways. This makes it hard to compare and correlate with other sets of data and does not allow the statistical analysis of responses. Answers may not contain relevant information. Open questions are open to interpretation and may not provide specific information that is required for the study, as the options have not been restricted to include particular information. Closed questions. Have a fixed or preset of answers or responses, yes/no multiple choice. Do not allow participants to provide expansive and varied responses and require a specific and limited response. Used for simple questions that can be answered in a few simple categories because they do not require detail and discussion. Collects ordinal and nominal data. Strengths of closed questions. Time efficient. They require less time for respondents to answer, making them suitable for large samples. Objective. Closed questions cannot be interpreted in different ways as the responses that need to be provided are straightforward and to the point. By limiting responses to predefined options, closed questions minimize the potential for ambiguity and misinterpretation. Easy to analyze. Closed questions provide quantifiable data in a consistent format that is clear, focused and specific and cannot be interpreted in different ways. This makes it easy to compare and correlate with other datasets and allows the statistical analysis of responses. Answers are guaranteed to provide relevant information. Closed questions are closed to interpretation and provide specific information that is required for the study, as the options are restricted to include particular information. Limitations of closed questions. Lacks the collection of rich, in-depth and detailed data. Closed questions do not allow respondents to provide detailed and nuanced answers. This means that rich information is not being gathered, and respondents are unable to truly express their thoughts and feelings freely. Inflexibility. Closed questions cannot gather a wide range of answers and data, and have a limited scope and are not able to uncover unexpected information or perspectives. This inflexibility reduces the insight gained. Reduces creativity. Closed questions discourage creative or unique responses, as respondents must choose from a limited set of options. Strengths of questionnaires. Good replicability. Questionnaires are standardized, as each participant has to answer the same preset amount of questions in the same amount of time, and therefore there is consistency across the questions and bias is minimized, as the way in which the information is gathered from a questionnaire cannot be changed based in the respondents who is answering. Eliminates the risk of researcher bias. Researchers are not present when the participants are filling out the questionnaire, and therefore researchers cannot influence the participants' responses, consciously or unconsciously, by changing the wording of the question, change their body language or facial expressions, or change the tone of their voice. Responses are anonymous. The respondent's answer cannot be traced back to them, and therefore respondents may feel as though they can answer the questions honestly without the fear of judgment got how they answer. Can collect of large vary of data. Questionnaires can use both closed and opened questions to collect both quantitative and qualitative data. Closed questions, such as multiple choice or rating scales, enable researchers to quantify responses and identify trends across a larger sample size. On the other hand, open-ended questions allow respondents to express their opinions and experiences in their own words, adding richness and context to the data. This allows researchers to gather numerical data that can be easily analyzed statistically, as well as descriptive data that provides deeper insights into the respondents' thoughts and feelings. Able to collect internal data, which the researcher would not be able to do themselves, questionnaires provide the opportunity for internal information to be collected and gathered, such as personal emotions and physical pain. This information would not be possible for the researchers to collect on their own, as they are unable to know how the participants are feeling. Limitations of questionnaires. Risk of social desirability bias. Respondents may provide answers that they believe are more socially acceptable or favorable and present them in a better light rather than their true feelings or behaviors. This can be more likely if the true answer is embarrassing or something to be ashamed of. This can lead to skewed data that does not accurately reflect the population's true behaviors. Risk of response bias. Respondents may answer questions in a particular way, regardless of their actual beliefs or experiences. This can manifest in various forms, such as acquiescence bias, where individuals agree with statements as presented, or extreme response bias, where respondents consistently choose the highest or lowest options on a scale. Both types of biases can distort the findings and reduce the reliability of the results. Risk of demand characteristics. Respondents may alter their behavior based on their perceptions of what the researcher expects or desires. If participants believe they know the purpose of the questionnaire or how they should respond, they may tailor their answers accordingly. Risk of question order effects. Early responses in a study may affect the way participants answer questions later in the study. Effects may be moderated by respondent factors like age, education level, knowledge, and attitudes about the topic. Time-consuming to design. Researchers have to think about whether they are going to use open or closed questions in their questionnaire, the types of open and closed questions they are going to use, and the way in which they are going to word these open and closed questions. Time restrictions. Respondents are only given a limited amount of time to complete the questionnaire, and therefore they may feel rushed or under pressure to answer all the questions, leading to incomplete or less thoughtful answer. Provide a snapshot of experiences. Questionnaires can only provide respondent information for how they feel and what they remember when they are filling in the questionnaire, and therefore a respondent's answer may change over time, e.g. in the morning respondents may feel better than they do in the evening, and the ongoing and deeper context of the respondent's thoughts and feelings is missed. Risk of misunderstanding and differences in interpretation. Different participants may interpret the same question differently. For example, "Are you religious?" could be interpreted by one person to mean they go to church every Sunday and pray daily, whereas another person may interpret religious to mean a vague belief in the supernatural. May not be suitable for sensitive topics. Participants are unlikely to write out entire detailed descriptions in paragraphs of sensitive and personal information and/or experiences, and therefore answers may not include every detail of the participants' thoughts and feelings. Thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more content like this. Bye.